Horror games. We all love horror games, right? A horror game's main goal is to try and scare the user playing the game. Sometimes it's done well, and other times... But FNAF, along with all of its fan games, are all horror, which is obvious to you. However, to me, the most unique FNAF fan games out there are the ones that aren't even horror in the first place. There are many games on GameJolt that use the FNAF IP to make very different games than you would expect, and personally, these are my favorite types of fan games because they're just so different from the rest. And today, I'm gonna go over a couple of games that fit this category, just so I can shed some light on them because these games are very well made. Also, quick note, a while ago I lowered my OBS quality settings for a small project I was working on, so if the video looks bad, then that's my fault and I'll fix it next time. This list is not in ranking order, however, I will put them on the lovely Jaden scale after talking about said game. So sit back and relax as I get ready to show you some FNAF games that aren't actually horror. Okay, I know I said that this wasn't in ranked order, but I really needed to talk about this game first because I just love it so much. FNAF Armageddon takes FNAF and turns it into an arena shooter, something like Doom, Dusk, and Quake, but it definitely has some inspiration from Ultra Kill as well. You have two weapons, but will most likely end up using one, an endo arm which is used as a melee weapon, and a blaster which can either be single shot or fired in bursts with a cooldown, which is disgustingly long, by the way. Now, as a fan of PSX styled graphics, this game looks very nice, and the level designs also just have a good flow to them and feel really nice to play through. There are only 3 enemy types, which consist of 2 endo types and a golden Freddy head. The legless endos will crawl after you and jump at you when at a close enough distance. The other endo is like a sniper, tracking your movements before shooting a big red ball at you. And the Freddy head will fly towards you no matter where it is. There are 3 bosses in this game, pretty much only 1, because the other 2 are just copy-paste enemies with extra health. And the final one, which is the only original one, is Mangle. She's in a ball pit on the final level. Her gimmick is that she hides her arms under the ball pit and launches them at you when you're at a close enough distance to them. It's a fun little switch up at first, but she has a crazy amount of health, and you do very little damage, so the whole fight is basically just run around the map and shoot because it's very easy to dodge her arms. After defeating her, the floor blows up and you fall through the hole while showing your stats for that level. And that's about the end of the game. It's very short, with only 5 to 6 levels and very little content to be found inside of them, but I guess making it short saves it from getting stale over time due to the lack of content. I would love to see an update with more enemies and weapons and levels and bosses because honestly, I think this game would be pretty well received if it was just bigger with more content. But sadly, the last post from the dev was 9 months ago asking what weapon they should add if they were to hypothetically add one. So either they are working on a big update or the game won't be seeing any updates at all. Which is fine, and I still recommend you try the game out because it is pretty fun for a small fan game. Also, the soundtrack is a bop. On the Jaden scale, I'm gonna give Armageddon an 8 out of 10. It looks nice, the soundtrack goes bonkers, if I will. The gameplay is fun. Only reason the score is lower is because of the lack of content. But besides that, good job. Wait. Link to this game and all the other games I mentioned from now on will be in the description if you would like to try them out, and I would highly recommend you do. Usually, I'm not too fond of tower defenses. The only one I really played was Balloons on my mum's phone when I was like 7 years old. You have an objective that you need to protect, which in this case is the office desk. To do so, you use various FNAF props like the cupcake and the fan and a bunch more stuff to save your desk from the animatronics. Every time you kill an animatronic, you get cash, which can be spent to upgrade the items that are on the field or make more. After you finish the run of the game, you get Faz tokens and levels. You can either head to the skills section where you can spend tokens you get from leveling up to unlock permanent skills like damage boosts or money after each round, or you can go to the store where you can spend Faz coins on new maps, items, and even game modes. Now, at the time of recording, I am nowhere near finishing this game, which is why I was very hesitant on putting it in this video in the first place because I didn't want to miss anything. But then I realized that if I did cover everything in this game, this section alone would bump the this whole video to about 45 minutes. I'm fine with long videos, but not today, and especially not on a FNAF game. The soundtrack, once again, is a banger, common video game soundtrack W. What's really cool is they have a leaderboard, which features the players who have lasted the longest in certain game modes, and yeah, I could never. On the Jaden scale, I'd give this game an 8.5 out of 10. It's filled to the brim with content and replayability, and I didn't want to give it the same score as Armageddon because that's boring, so I just made it 0.5. Like I said, if I were to cover everything in this game, like how every item works and what upgrades do what, we would be here for a long time. So instead, you should go check out the game. It's a fun game to play if you want just a small chilled out experience, or you're a fan of tower defenses and FNAF. Finally on the list, we have Faz Karts. Faz Karts is a kart racing game with the FNAF characters at various locations. The game is in alpha and currently features all the FNAF 1 characters, the toy animatronics and Withered Freddy, and most of the FNAF 3 cast, with one map for each game as well, so 3 maps in total. There isn't really much to say if you're already well knowledgeable on kart games, because they're all pretty much the same. It's just drive around the map 3 times while picking up power-ups to stop other players. Oh yeah, this game has multiplayer, by the way. I didn't end up doing it because, I mean, who is going to bring up Faz Kart as a game for the boys to play? Now, as fun and silly as this game may be, it definitely has many flaws I would like to point out. Keep in mind the game is in alpha, so everything is subject to change, but I need that one part in my video where I criticize stuff because I'm an evil human being. First, the maps are very boring. See, the maps aren't like driving through the location of that game. It's just a flat map that has turns in it, and around the place are just props from the corresponding game. Like, the only reason that the FNAF 3 map is FNAF 3 is because of the green fog that's around the map. Another thing that I think could be changed / added is the power-up. Currently there are 3 power-ups, which are a speed boost, a banana, and a fake power-up block. These are pretty cool, but I definitely think they could use a little more FNAF pizzazz, if you know what I'm saying. Like, for example, instead of a banana, make it a pizza, and instead of stunning you, make it slow you down because you're driving through the cheese. Or you could add new power-ups, like for example Freddy's microphone, that acts like the speaker thing in Mario Kart, where it shoots a sound wave kind of thing and stuns nearby drivers. Maybe these are the things that the developer should be working on, because right now it looks like they're just trying to pump out as many characters into the game as possible. Again, I'm not trying to shit on this game because it is in beta, so these things may come in the future, but these are just some issues I had with the game personally and currently. Besides that though, the game is pretty decent, and if you have some friends and want to try something different, then try this game out. Although, make sure that your friends are actually into FNAF. On the Jaden scale, this game gets a 6 out of 10. It's fun, but just like Armageddon, suffers from the lack of content. And that's about it. I know there are many other games out there that are non-horror FNAF games that I didn't mention, so feel free to let me know about them in the comments, and who knows, I might make a follow-up video. I'd also like to mention the whole me just not uploading for a month thing. Recently, I've been working on a game in my own time, and it's not the one I talked about on my second channel if you've seen that, but I've been pretty busy doing that. However, I'm back in the swing of things, ready to make more videos for a small part of the FNAF fandom to enjoy, and I hope you've all enjoyed watching, and maybe want to go check out the games that I've mentioned. All the games in this video definitely deserve to be played, so go check them out if you have the time. As I said before, links to all of them in the description. Besides that though, that's about it from me. I hope you have or have had a good morning, evening, or night, and I'll catch you in the next 2 months when I make my next video about why yo-yos are only eaten by serial killers. Have a good one.